What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of S&T Talk Football, your favorite DC football podcast. And today we have more Premier League match previews for you. The first thing we're going to be discussing are the three biggest matches from this weekend, which are the Leeds versus West Ham game, Everton versus Chelsea, and the blockbuster match of this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Manchester Derby. And after that, we will go into finishing up our what our thoughts on the ESPN FC rankings are. Sadly, Aresh couldn't join us today because he's suffering depression thanks to his football club. Uh, I think this is going to be a pretty fun episode. So let's get right into it with the first game, Leeds versus West Ham United. What are you saying about this game, Sid?
As we know, West Ham lost. Both the teams, West Ham have been doing really well. People thought they'd be fighting a relegation battle, but instead they seem to be doing well for themselves. Eighth place, which is pretty good on their standards. Leeds, on the other hand, they had a good start to the season in terms of football. They still do play very catchy football, but they have been struggling a little bit to life in the Premier League. It's not as easy as the Championship is, but I don't know. It is a good game. It'll definitely be a super intense game. I think at Elland Road, the possession might be a little equal. I think Leeds will definitely put pressure on West Ham. I'm sure of it, but I think it's I don't know. I think West Ham seem to be sorted out defensively. I think Leeds are still sort of working out a combination, a reliable defensive combination that they could use. So I think because West Ham seem a little bit more sorted out as a team, as who plays where's which 15 players they sort of want to rotate each game. Those guys they want to play their main guys. Leeds, on the other hand, they sort of switch a lot. Like one day somebody's playing in the under 23s, and the next day they're in the first team. So I think they're still trying to sort out their team. So that's I think West Ham are a little bit more solid, even at the back. They're just better defensively. So I think West Ham are gonna win this one. But no doubt, I think Leeds will put up a good performance, but I think West Ham will win. And I think a standout player might be Jared Bowen because he's been really good for West Ham. He was really good against United as well, and I think against Leeds he could cause more trouble. I think the score will be 3-1 to West Ham. What are your thoughts on this game?
I think Leeds really constant high pressure versus that West Ham back five is going to be, they'll be absorbing the pressure and thing on the counter. Last weekend, the United versus West Ham game, West Ham did lose, but Jared Bowen played like a superstar. He's really good. You just mentioned him. I think they've been starting Haller in place of Antonio because he's injured right now. I don't think that is a really good decision. I mean, he's not the guy who's fit to replace Antonio because he's not exactly the same type of striker as him. Haller is more of a target man or a hit man, whereas Antonio can actually advance with the ball. He can try to, hold up play, create chances sometimes. Yeah, I think also a player who has found his form again, a player who did disappoint last season. It is signing from Villarreal. It's Pablo Fornals, who started off the season brilliantly. He scored quite a few goals, a few important goals, given a few assists. Just getting into the groove. Declan Rice has also been excellent this season. I'm not usually a big fan of Declan Rice. I felt that when West Ham priced him at 80 million, I felt like that was a disgrace. I still do feel like that's a disgrace, but he's definitely proving why he's worth big money this season. He's been their best player. He's their captain now, at least in the absence of Mark Noble. But yeah, he's a brilliant player. Irish-born player, might I add, but a bit of a snake. If we have any Irish fans at all, you won't like us talking about Declan Rice so much and so highly. But yeah, I think Leeds have got also some good players. They've got Jack Harrison on loan from Man City, Rodrigo Moreno, everyone's favorite FIFA card. No, I'm joking. He's still a really just good player. He was, he got, while he's not among the goals as much, he's definitely a Bielsa player. He's a runner. He puts pressure on the teams, and I think other side they've got Helder Costa, Bamford, who started off really well. People expected him to be bad because of how many big chances he missed last season, but Bamford has been clinical for the Yorkshire inside this season. Calvin Phillips played a beautiful ball against Chelsea on the weekend. They did lose 3-1, but Calvin Phillips was a standout star. They've got some pretty mediocre defenders. Diego Llorente especially was pretty bad against Chelsea. But yeah, I think that West Ham will take the win in this one. I think a Jared Bowen goal and a Pablo Fornals goal, and Bamford will get one back for Leeds. 2-1 West Ham United. So, moving on, let's talk about the next game we have planned to discuss. We'll come back to the Manchester Derby at the end of this, at the end of these three games, because while it is before the Everton Chelsea game, it is the biggest game of the weekend. So let's talk about Chelsea versus Everton. So Carlo Ancelotti versus Frankie Lampard. Chelsea have picked up form recently. They've won quite a few games. While they did draw with Krasnodar, they won 5-0 against Sevilla, or 4-0, I think, maybe, I'm not sure. But I remember Giroud scored a poker. Giroud is on flying form right now, and he definitely should be starting. I don't know why. I think Werner, he's been a good he will be a good signing. I thought he would be a good signing, but he's not showed up yet. And Kai Havertz has been the biggest disappointment in the Premier League this season. The biggest flop in my opinion. For the money they spent on him, he really needs to be doing more than scoring hat-tricks against Barnsley. But yeah, let us know in the comments who you think was the biggest flop from this Premier League season. And considering price and how they've been playing. But I think other than that, I think that Everton also, they've dropped off form wise recently. I think James hasn't got a goal or assist since game week 4. It's really shocking. But that means that I kind of assumed it was a purple patch at the start. I still assume it's going to be a purple. It is a purple patch, and that he's not going to rip up the Prem as some of the La Liga fans suggested. I think Calvert Lewin, he keeps bagging goals. He's a good hitman, a very good hitman. Um, the goal he scored against Liverpool in that 2-2 draw was just superb, instincts, and to get above what Fabinho, or was it Matip? I'm not sure. I think it was Matip. To head that home is not something very easy to do. I think he did that superbly. I think he's a great hitman. He scores a lot of goals, and yeah, I think that on form Chelsea will outclass the Everton side 3-0. I'm going to go for an absolute battering of the club from Merseyside. Let's say one Chilwell goal and two Werner goals. Why not? So, what do you think?
Yeah, Everton started the season really well, but from them they've been okay, which is what I expected. It was just a good run of form. But Chelsea they are on really good form, but they're the kind of side that could keep that up for an entire year. Um, their side is really confident right now. They have a good squad. They have a lot of depth. They have a lot of players to play. So uh, it's a it's a bit of a you know eh, people might say it's like some huge game, but I think it's just Chelsea will just outclass them. There's no way Everton are going to keep up with them. I think I'm going to say 3-1 because I don't think Chelsea can keep a clean sheet. I think Calvert Lewin, he's been on really good form, so I think he can get a goal. But yeah, otherwise I think Chelsea will. I think Werner will score, and I don't know. I just think Werner will score two, and Thiago Silva, let's say, will score one. So the next match, which is the biggest match, is the Manchester Derby, Manchester United versus Manchester City. What do you think about this one?
I think this segment of the video is exactly why Arias couldn't join us for today's episode. I'm gonna have to go with City because Man United have just lost their biggest game of the season, and that's really going to affect them mentally. It's not something you come back from in 6-7 days. And the same thing happened when Liverpool played Atletico. They lost their Watford game, the Atletico game, all in a row. So these kind of big losses can really impact a team's mentality and how they play. I think some loss like this is really not. It's not what United needed. I think Ole could well get the sack, especially if he loses this Manchester derby. His job will be there to fight for, but the question is, are the players even going to fight for that job of his anymore? Because he has been a huge letdown ever since he got appointed as their manager after being interim manager. So I'm going to say that Man City will win this game 2-0. Ferran Torres and Raheem Sterling. Because City also won. They beat Marseille, I'm pretty sure, in the Champions League this week. Uh, Eric Garcia, or however his, no one wants him to play for Man City ever again, especially the Man City fans. He used to be a really bright young talent, but I don't know what has happened with them. I'm also going to say that Raheem Sterling will back because he's, you know, Sterling is not exactly I wouldn't say he's overall a better footballer than like Heung-min Son or Sadio Mane, but I would say he has the best positioning out of most footballers, if any footballer in the world, because he always gets into the goal scoring positions, and that's how he puts up such big numbers. And you really have to respect that, because when you have De Bruyne, and if you can get into space, there's not much. There's a very high chance you're going to score, and the ball's going to end up back from net. So I'm going to say that Sterling will score, and I'm also going to say that Ferran Torres will score off the bench because he's had a fine start to life at City. I'm going to say he's going to score off the bench, and I'm going to go with a 2-0 City win. What do you think?
I think United they lost before the past, let's say 2-3 weeks, they were in a horrible Premier League run. They're like 15 still with a game in hand. But I think after this loss to Leipzig, their season is like at an all-time low. Those guys must be, they have to compete for whatever top four or Europa League, thinking that they're not going to be able to play Champions League football in March. So I think that, yeah, the team's mentality will be really, they won't be feeling happy. The atmosphere on the training ground, I bet won't be good. City, on the other hand, comfortably qualified for the knockout stages, so they will be in a good mood. Their players will be positive, they'll be confident, and I think just that their advantage, their mentality just will be high. I don't think United's team have the character to be motivated after a loss. They just never show it. Um, and in terms of playing, you're right. I think De Bruyne, Sterling, they're too good for United's defense, who are horrible against Leipzig. And I don't know why I don't like Sterling very much. I don't like him at all. But I can't. He's a really good player. I don't know why people, when they name the England squad, they don't say Sterling, because he is a good player, much better than Rashford in my opinion. And I think City just have better attackers. Their defense seems to be sorted out, and they have a much stronger midfield. So I'm gonna say, um, I think City will win, and I think also because they're struggling to fit everyone in their midfield, and you have to have a solid defensive midfield, a solid defensive square if you wanna at least hold off De Bruyne. So I think City will win 3-1. I think Sterling, De Bruyne, and
Guerrero's back.
and Aguero. No, and Jesus off the bench. And I think for United, whatever, Rashford or Bruno Fernandes score a pen.
One thing I can say about this game is, last game it showed that Maguire should be stripped of the captaincy, and it should be given, the armband should be given to Bruno. He's the only one there who actually leads by example. If you're going to make Harry bloody Maguire the captain of your team, that's just not. Who's gonna? If you're a young player, you don't grow up one day thinking I want to be the next Harry Maguire. You grow up thinking, oh, Bruno Fernandes is a brilliant player. Like, seeing him as an example for who you want to be someday, it's not bad. But if Harry Maguire can't captain a team because he can't, quite frankly, can't sort out a defense, he's too error prone, and he's not a good enough footballer to be the captain of a club as big as Manchester United. I think
Yeah,
Bruno
I
should.
agree. I think it's not only about who's like the captain, who has the armband. I think it's just about leaders in the squad. There's just literally only Bruno Fernandes who seems to be a bit of a character. The rest of their players just they're never motivated. They don't look motivated. They look a little bit dead. After a loss, they don't seem after a loss they don't seem to think they want to win. After a loss, they just have a bad run, and then maybe whatever, they win an easy game, and they gain a bit of confidence. So I think the team is I don't we won't criticize them any longer. um the next segment of the video, and the last segment for today, is So, what are our thoughts on the next ESPN? So, we already did the defenses, the right back, left back, goalkeepers, defensive midfielders, centre backs. Now are doing attacking midfielders, and this is weird. It's forwards, wingers, and strikers. Those are different categories somehow, but whatever. We'll rank them. So
So first, let's start off with attacking
yeah,
midfielders. In number, you can see on your screen right now. Number 10, they were Grealish, ninth Awar, eighth Pogba, seventh Bernardo Silva, sixth Kai Havertz, fifth Leon Goretzka, fourth Papu Gomez, third Bruno Fernandes, second Muller, and one KDB. I
ah,
think this is further proof that ESPN have not watched football since 2018. Because what is Bernardo Silva doing in a top 10 attacking midfielders? He has not been good since the 2018-19 season, and that's a fact. He has not been good for them. Ask any City fan, and he'll tell you he's been average. He's been bang average since then. He hardly can keep a place in the team. There's so many players who are preferred ahead of him. I don't what he's done to get number 7 ahead of players like Awar and Grealish especially, to get ahead of Grealish in those rankings. It's just shameful for me. I think he needs to be. I think Grealish needs to be put down, jumped up to 7th place, because Grealish has been, while he's not been noticed by most world fans because he is playing at Aston Villa. I think he needs to be bumped up to that 7th spot, and he's been pivotal in their game, and he's been the person trying to keep them up the most. He's the captain of the club as well. He's trying to inject a mentality in him. Yesterday, he was involved in a sex scandal where apparently it was released that he has a sex tape. It's a pretty funny story, actually, so go check it out if you haven't. Um, but yeah, I think that Grealish should be bumped up, replaced with Bernardo Silva, taken into 7th place. And I think Bernardo Silva should be kicked off the list completely. I would replace him with someone who's not on the list. Let's say, you know, there's many people who I could actually replace him with, but I'm gonna say, this is tricky because now I don't know what to say. But I know there is someone. I say fine. Let's go Julian Brandt or maybe Marco Royce. Anyone? I'm so confused. What am I saying? I'm chatting shit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm thinking who I could replace him with because there are many people I know he could be replaced. Let's say Dybala. He won Serie A MVP last season, and he hasn't started out the season well. Even Hakim, yeah, I think Ziyech has been classified as a winger for this one, but I'm gonna replace him with Dybala because even though Dybala has been utter dog shit for Juve this season, I think last season he was their best player, especially under Sarri. He really exploded. He won Serie A MVP, and there's not really much more I could say about that. I think Dybala. I don't think Bernardo Silva deserves to be anywhere near this list.
yeah, I'm happy with the top five. I think I would switch Goretzka and Bruno Fernandes, but otherwise the people there are fine. The bottom, not the bottom five, but sixth to 10th is just I don't think Pogba should be there. If this is 2020, I don't think Pogba should be there. I think I don't think Bernardo Silva should be there either. Those two I don't think should be here. I think I don't know. I don't think Ziyech is in the winger category to us, so I think Ziyech should be here. And I would say, yeah, I would say Dybala because even though he hasn't had a good year, and I know it's a 2020 ranking, I still think he deserves to be here. I mean, his team won the Serie A after all, so yeah, I think he should be here. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about the category. I mean, I mean the ranking. This is like okay, I guess. I think the only thing is Pogba and Silva should not be here. And I think Ziyech and Dybala should. And I think Goretzka and Bruno Fernandes should switch places. That's it.
The next part is the top 10 wingers in world football. ESPN have put Vinicius Jr. 10th, Hazard at ninth, Lucas at Campos at 8th, Kingsley Coman 7th, Pulisic 6th, this is clearly American bias, Di Maria 5th, Sancho 4th, Nabry 3rd, Sterling 2nd, and Mane 1st. Salah hasn't been included in this one because he's in the other list, but I think that the Hazard and Vinicius Jr. deserve to be nowhere near this list, and maybe Pulisic should be taken a bit higher and taken off the list completely, or just moved above because he's not. very deserving of this top place because while he's been top player for Chelsea, a good acquisition, he's not played enough first of all, and he's not been top 10 wingers in the world. I would personally replace the Hazard and Vinicius first. I think Pulisic can still compete for a place in this team. I would say replace Hazard with, I would say, it's a tricky one actually. I'm gonna go for Son. Replace Hazard with Son. Or
He's
if
in the
Son is in the
forwards category. That's a
that's fine.
tough one. It's a tough one.
Weird one because they have put a lot of the people who deserve this in the forwards category. It's Griezmann. No, Griezmann hasn't been. Griezmann has still been better than Hazard. As Griezmann in the forwards category,
Nope.
I would say Griezmann has been better than Hazard because Hazard has just been injured the whole time. I don't see what exactly he's done to get put in 2020 in this best 2020 team. I think Vinicius Junior scored the El Clasico goal, the opening goal against Barca. That's the highlight they've mentioned here as well. But I don't think Vinicius Junior number 10. I think I'm gonna go for Riyad Mahrez instead. You could even go for like you can go for anyone really. I'll go for hmm. I'll go for Rashford. Is he in the top 10 forwards again?
Yep.
Why? ESPN has really confused.
They're
Because
just trying to put enough categories and usually it. Can I say mine?
yeah, sure.
I just think Vinicius, okay, for whatever. Vinicius can be 10th. I think Hazard, and what is Pulisic doing as 6th? That is really just American bias. I don't think Pulisic or Hazard should be. I think Vinicius can be 10th. I don't know because everybody else who's like a contenders in the forwards category, I feel. So I don't think there's anyone else to add. I just feel Hazard and Pulisic should not be here. I think even Sane, who's literally played for like 3 games, is more deserved of this. So it's just I don't know. But anyways, and for the top 3, I will agree. I think Mane deserves to be first. I think Sterling, yeah, I think Sterling deserves to be second. I think he's a really good player, even though I don't like him. And I think Gnabry, yeah, third. That's fair. So because this forwards and wingers thing is really confusing, let's just go into forwards. And just saying forwards is not strikers. There's another category which is called strikers. So anyways, you can see the list on your screen. Oh, why don't actually I'll say what I think about this one. I think so Dybala is in this one. Okay. Um oth- Okay, I don't think Salah deserves to be fifth. That's just rubbish. He won the Premier League. I think Salah should switch with Ronaldo. I think Salah deserves to be third. I think Salah is better than Mbappe, but I think Mbappe reached the Champions League final and he just had a good year. So whatever, just put him in. I would personally put. Sorry,
Messi first is a disgrace because
nah,
2020 is not only this year because we've not played. There was like for 3 months, 2 months of this year there was no football.
that's true.
Starting
I guess.
first thing he did when he came back, got knocked out by lost the title to Real Madrid, got knocked out by Bayern. He didn't have much say in either.
Yeah,
And
fine,
then in
whatever. I would personally put
turn of the
Salah
season,
first. I don't care. Salah deserves to be
turn of
first.
the season, he has scored one open play goal, one goal
Yeah,
from open play.
I think we should. Messi's team performances hasn't been good, and he didn't really show up on big occasions. I still think he's the best player in the world, but for 2020 rankings, I wouldn't put him first. I would switch Messi with Salah, and then I would put
No,
Ronaldo. Okay, let me rearrange the top 5. I would put Ronaldo as fifth. I would put. Okay, I agree. I would put Neymar as fourth. I would put Salah. I would put Messi as third. I would put Salah as second, and I would put Mbappe as first. I don't care if it's biased. I watch Salah. I like the way he plays. I think he should be second. I think Mbappe should be first because he reached the Champions League final. and he's like only 21. He's the future of football. So I would put him there. That's how I would rearrange the top five, and the bottom, not the bottom five, but like sixth to 10th. I think whatever, it's fine, but I think not because of current form. I think Son and Aubameyang have to switch. This is not because of their current form. I just think Son is a much better player than Aubameyang. He's proved it more, I think, more than Aubameyang has. So I would switch Son and Aubameyang. And I'm actually, yeah, actually, that's it. This is a bit of a controversial one, but what do you think about this?
Aubameyang last season he won the Golden Boot, so he has to be, or he won second in the Golden Boot. Uh, he scored. Last season he was on fire. This season he's just not been the same. But that's because Arsenal have been playing a completely different style of football, which doesn't really get him in the game as much as he would hope to be. He's been a disappointment ever since signing his new contract with Arsenal. I think, yeah, I'm gonna say in that list you should. There's not much you need to switch around. I think the top five is a shambles. I would say. Here's what I would say. I would say fifth. I'm gonna say fifth Messi, fourth Salah, third Neymar. Oh, I'm sorry, third Ronaldo. Actually, it depends on Ronaldo or Salah. That's fine. I'll say fifth Messi, fourth Salah, fifth Messi, fourth Ronaldo, third Salah, second Neymar, first Mbappe. I think saying Ronaldo and Messi are the best players, like best forwards in the world in 2020, is just bias. And regardless of what you could defend, like, oh my God, he's the best, he's blind. No, I'm saying that these guys are no longer the best players in the world. They're past it. They've had great careers. Arguably, they are definitely among the two best. You know what? Among the four best players in the world, it's of all time. Sorry, but I don't think that they're top two players anymore. So I'm gonna say that they go to fifth and fourth. But yeah, that will take us on to the next.
Wait. Let me say one thing. I think Messi and Ronaldo might individually be better than Neymar, Mbappe, and Salah, and what they can do individually might be better, but what they've done for their teams hasn't been as good this year as it has been before.
So the next ranking is the top seven strikers, so the out and out number nines. They've got Raul Jimenez in 10th, Firmino in ninth, Timo Werner in 8th, Ciro Immobile 7th, Sergio Aguero 6th, Romelu Lukaku 5th, Harry Kane 4th, Karim Benzema 3rd, Erling Haaland 2, and Lewandowski 1. So I'm going to say I completely agree with this list and every ranking on it. There's not actually. I would only switch Kane and Benzema's positions around because Kane has started off the season trying form, and last season also he was really good under Jose. Ever since Jose has come, Kane has absolutely exploded. So I'm gonna say that yeah. So switch around Kane and Benzema. That's the right ranking.
Uh,
I mean, you could argue that Jimenez has been better than Firmino, but personally no.
yeah, I agree with the people who are on this list. I would switch Benzema and Kane, and then I would put Kane as third and Benzema as fourth, and then I would personally switch Lukaku and Werner. I think I'm not a big fan of Lukaku as good as he's been, but I still think he deserves to make the list. I don't think Bobby Firmino should be ninth, but I know a lot of people don't, and I don't know why he's in the strikers list because he isn't exactly a striker, and I think the amount of criticism he gets because he makes more of a silent impact. I know people say, oh, he doesn't score goals, but that's crap. I think Salah and Mane would be getting like 10 goals a season if it wasn't for Bobby Firmino. He lets them score goals, and I think creating space is so important in football, and he's, I think, one of the best in the world at that. But he obviously, because he's a striker, he just gets criticism for it. So I don't think he should be ninth. I would switch Bobby Firmino and Lukaku actually. Yeah, I'm gonna switch Firmino and Lukaku because Firmino won the
Firmino doesn't deserve
Premier
to be
League.
like
Yeah, he
top
does.
seven. I think Firmino might even be lower than Raul. He
Nah,
could
no.
be Jimenez could
He
switch
won the
because
Premier League.
hit his. last season was his worst ever season in the Liverpool jersey. He was dreadful, and while he is still a good player, last season he was not. He scored one goal at Anfield, and that is shocking for a player of his standards. But yeah, let's move on to the last list for this episode, which is the top 10 managers list. So at number 10, ESPN have put Carlo Ancelotti of Everton. Number 9 is Zinedine Zidane from Real Madrid. Number 8 is Julen Lopetegui from Sevilla. Then they have number 7, Diego Simeone. Number 6, Marcelo Bielsa. Uh, Number 5, Julian Nagelsmann. Number 4, Gasperini, Atlanta. Number 3, Pep Guardiola. Number 2, Hansi Dieter Flick. And number 1, Jurgen Norbert Klopp. I'm going to say that Mourinho not being on here is a crime. I don't know. Bielsa is just brought his team out of the championship and he's been named number 6. Just because he won the championship title does not make him better than Mourinho, who has started this season off in flying form. And even I don't know what exactly Simeone is doing here. His highlight was only the Liverpool game. He's not done anything other than the Liverpool game. They got knocked out straight after by RB Leipzig. And I'm gonna say that they should switch around the positions of Nagelsmann and Pep, and then they should switch around Pep and Gasperini. I think Pep fourth is fine. I think Nagelsmann deserves to be third because as a manager, he was absolutely brilliant this season and last season. He just knocked out Man United from the Champions League. And you need to consider that 2020 is not only last season, it is them that the start of this year to now. And I think Nagelsmann has been better than Gasperini, especially the fact that Atlanta started the season off in dreadful form. So I'm going to say that Nagelsmann marks himself after third. Then Pep comes to fourth and Gasperini fifth. And then you swap out Bielsa for Mourinho and you can swap Mourinho with, I guess, Zidane and with Lopetegui, and that's the ranking I would say is correct.
I agree with the top five. Switch Nagelsmann with Guardiola and switch Guardiola with Gasperini. That's it, really. I think maybe I would take out. Um, no, I guess that's it. I guess Mourinho, just because he came. Nah, I don't know. Yeah, it's fine. I would just do that to the top five. I don't really have anything else to say about managers, but yeah, I'm not doing the out.
So that's all we have prepared for today's video. I'm sorry it was a less enthusiastic video as usual, but yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Come back on Monday for a Champions League draw. It will be over on our social media. We will post the draw live, all the fixtures as they happen in real time. So make sure to follow SNT Talk Football on Twitter and SNT Talk Football on Instagram. So that's all we have for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. But yeah, we'll see you next time.